I feel like this book has actually taken us out of the money conversation and into our emotions. Today, we're actually going through, and we started last week. You Are a Badass at Making Money. It's a book I had started probably, I don't know, 10 years ago. Um, and I never really finished it. And one of my goals, starting now and throughout 2024, is actually to read a good amount of the books that I have on our bookshelves.
Do you mean throughout 2025?
Oh, yeah, sorry, 2025. Who knows what year it is anymore? Technically, we're still all back in 2019, right?
Mentally, yes.
And so this was the first book I decided to pick up because many of you may know, many of you may not know, but Tyler and I got married about 2 years ago. And one of the things that we've struggled with as a married couple is figuring out finances together. We've also just hit some snags in the road. We moved and Tyler had a business that unfortunately the business partner and he didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things.
Just didn't work out.
Just didn't work out. And so we went through some turmoil trying to figure out our footing. And, the other part is that I made Tyler move his whole life to marry me. So he didn't have a job when we first got started. I said, all right, let's go get married. Come down here.
Yeah.
So we had some poor planning when we first started our marriage. And so I think our goals over the next few years is really to make sure that the things we're planning properly. Obviously you can't plan for everything, but you should plan as much as possible. So we decided that going through the last chapter, we wanted to kind of take you guys through the journey of us going through the questionnaires at the end of each chapter. Because I think it's not only important for us, I think it's important for other people to hear that we're in similar boats, or even just maybe answer the questions for yourself. It's a great spouse partner date night idea. We're kind of doing this as our Sunday. So, our goal is we go to church, we work out, and then we read a chapter of the book and answer some of the questions, and then we'll meal prep for the rest of the day.
It's ideal. That's to me, that is the prime Sunday.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, one of the first questions in chapter 2, it's called "Why You Ain't Rolling in the Cheddar Yet."
Okay.
I
forgot to buy Cheez-Its at the store.
So stupid. The first one is becoming aware of your limiting thoughts and beliefs. So I actually read this really cool part in the chapter. Hold on, let me switch. God bless.
Thank you.
So I thought this would be a really cool piece to read out loud.
I'm going to move your microphone on you a little bit.
Okay.
Just trying to help you out.
Just trying to get our stuff together.
Good use of the word.
Our stuff.
Stuff.
So this is actually chapter 2, page 30 of You Are a Badass at Making Money. It says, there's a neuroscientist who uses the power of belief to help amputees in excruciating pain find relief. Many people who've lost a limb experience what's called phantom pain, very real pain sensations in part of their body that no longer exists. Because the limb is no longer there, there's no way for them to massage it or soak it or do anything to relieve the pain. Hello, how freaking torturous is that? Through use of mirrors, this neuroscientist reflects the image of patient's existing limb to where the missing limb used to be. So it appears that the missing limb is no longer missing. Then, if they're missing an arm, for example, they move their existing arm, unclench their hand, relieve the tension however they can, and the mind is tricked into believing that this is happening to the missing arm, and the pain disappears. By making the mind believe that the non-existent exists, he is able to help his patients change their physical reality. Your external world is a mirror of your internal world.
That's really interesting. I like that a lot. I've always heard about phantom pain. It's really interesting. And it's even to the point where I've heard of things before where people can be tricked into thinking that they are being harmed. You know what I mean? So, if you're sitting at a table and both of your arms are out on the table, well, if one of your arms gets blocked from view and somebody puts a dummy arm there instead, what they do is that they try to give you the same sensation. So, like maybe they'll get a brush and brush both your actual hand and the fake hand at the same time, so that your body is perceiving that the fake hand is actually getting those
Same
the
sensations.
same sensations. And then what they'll do is that they'll just suddenly like hit the fake hand with a hammer.
Oh.
And then people will like either get shocked or actually like feel pain through that hand.
Oh, how
Because
interesting.
their mind is tricking them into believing that that is the actual sensation.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Our brains are crazy, powerful things. One of the other quotes that I wanted to read from this book was trying to protect yourself from your fears protects you from experiencing a fully evolved and juicy life.
Juicy.
Juicy, baby.
What a word. The time to use that word.
I like the word juicy. I'm okay with it. So, back to the initial question that we had. So we're talking about limiting thoughts and beliefs, and um, Tyler, are you comfortable talking about yours?
Sure.
Go
Not really, but
ahead. I think that we had started this conversation off mic, and it was actually really interesting the road we traveled down. This book is about money, but I think that the road we traveled down through that conversation had nothing to do with money.
well, it didn't,
Yeah.
right? Because there are obviously some thoughts and feelings that are tied to money that weren't caused by money. Um, but it does affect how you can make money.
Mm-hmm.
It affects how you value yourself. It affects um, how efficient you are in the world, in being a valuable member of society.
Yeah.
Um, so what was the prompt?
So the prompt was become aware of what your limiting thoughts and beliefs are. Question and investigate them. Rewrite them. Say it out loud and proud. So, for example, in the book, she says an unhelpful thought is money can't buy happiness. And then the question around that is what makes me happy? So, Ty, what was your unhelpful thought?
This is where it kind of takes a turn from
Yeah.
money. Um, my unhelpful thought or my limiting thought was, I can't do it.
Yeah. And so I pushed back at him and I said, well, what can you do?
And it took me a really long time to think of what I can do. And we had to go into like some basic things first, like I can cook, I can clean. One of the things I wrote down was I can drive, I can love my wife. Those are
And he's so good at it, guys.
um,
He's an amazing husband.
those are a few of the things that I can do, but I had trouble writing down other things.
Yeah.
Um, I eventually said that I can operate in Excel. I'm above proficient in Excel, and I like it using it as a tool. It's really, really helpful. I can operate light machinery. I can operate saws and drills and screwdrivers. I even operated the backhoe that your dad had for a while.
Yeah.
Helped him out with that. And the last one was that I can solve problems. So there are things that I can do that can help me, but man, did that take a lot of time and effort to
It did. It took
even
him.
get those few things down.
Yeah.
So
And it makes me sad that his limiting belief is he feels like he can't do these things. So we sort of discussed around, what's preventing him from feeling like he can do it. What was the next question I had asked you? Do you remember?
wasn't it like, what can money do to make you feel like you can,
Yeah.
essentially?
Yeah.
And I said, well, if I had money, then I can take courses and learn new skills. Your argument was,
Yeah, my argument was there's free courses online. There's podcasts you can listen to. Hi, that's what we're doing. But I think that a lot of people use their financial place as an excuse to prevent them from doing the things that make them better, bigger, more capable. Um, your finances should not be an excuse to be a better version of who you are. There are always resources out there that do not require money.
Yeah, I mean, and it's hard for me because, I think that we concluded that, I saw it as an excuse to be, not great.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, well, I don't have the money, so I can't do it.
Yeah, it's a form of self-sabotage, I think.
And I think that that's a fair assessment. I
Hmm.
really do. Um, and so, we kind of talked a little bit about what else I can do, Um, I like to work out. I used to be pretty fit, and then we got married. Um, and one of my excuses for not working out was, well, we don't have a gym membership. We don't have money to be a member at a gym. And, we have weights at home. I know calisthenic workouts that I can do at home. And
Preface this with when we first started dating, he was working out like an hour every single day, maybe even longer some days. And he was jacked. I mean, he was fit beyond belief. And I've known this man for 11 years. But when we first started dating about 3 years ago, um, he was the fittest I'd ever seen him.
I probably wasn't working out every day. It was probably four days a week, something
Okay.
along those lines. Um, and it was kind of abrupt. It was like after we moved, it just
It just
stopped.
stopped.
It just
Yeah.
stopped. And I did try to do some workouts from home. I did, pick up my weights. I did try to do some calisthenics. But but that isn't even. I don't even do that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, he even had a fitness Instagram account because one of his goals was to get his personal training certification. Part of it is definitely that his wife didn't work out as much as he did. And part of that is because I tore both my traps about 2.5 years ago, over massaging and over Pilates. But I'm healed now, and so now we have the ability to make workout dates.
Yeah, and we should prioritize that. But I think that one of the other problems was that, and we came to this conclusion too earlier, was that I'm somebody who thrives off of scheduling.
Hmm.
This is where my time is money comes in because I genuinely think that if I can manage my time very well, then I can manage my money.
Yeah.
And the better I, the better I can schedule myself, the more efficient I'll be, the more money I can make from that.
Also, not using the excuse of, well, I don't have money, so I can't go do that.
Right.
You don't need money to work out. I mean,
Yeah.
hey, I like to go. I'm a class girly, 1000%. It keeps me more accountable. So, do I need money for that? Most of the time, yes. However, if I really wanted something, I would do it regardless of how I feel that I need the best version of it. Um, and so I think that that comes back to that self-sabotage piece is you are your own excuse.
Mhm.
1000%. Our limiting beliefs are our own excuses. The only one preventing you from accomplishing a goal is yourself.
Yeah, I totally believe that. And it's kind of hard to admit that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is hard to admit because I know for a fact that if I just put the time and the effort into the things that I want to do, then I will be good at them. I will be able to make money from them. I will not have to worry about these things. But for some reason, I just haven't done them. And this is where scheduling works for me
Yeah.
because I won't on a limb just say, like, oh, it's time to go do this.
Yeah.
But if I have a schedule, I can look at my clock, I can look at my watch and say, it's 1 o'clock. It's time for me to go work out.
Mhm.
It's time for me to go in the basement and do jumping jacks, do push ups, like
Yeah.
literally do anything.
Even the small things matter. I know sometimes it feels like you've got such a big goal to accomplish and it's hard to see the forest through the trees, but every minute thing matters when you're trying to accomplish a goal.
Right. And if you can, kind of break your goals down into these mini milestones, mini checkpoints,
Yeah.
and say, like, hey, today I'm going to work an hour on this in pursuit of this milestone or this checkpoint.
Mhm.
To me, that's what works the best for me. And it may not work for everybody, but I know that I can hold myself accountable to a schedule. But I have such I have such attention problems that if I don't think of something, I will get lost in the TV show that I'm watching. I will get lost in my phone. It
Yeah.
will happen.
Yeah.
It will happen. So if I tell myself, my future self, that I need to do this at this time, I know that I can and I will.
Yeah. So, how would you rewrite your limiting belief then?
With the I can't do it,
Yeah.
I haven't done it.
Yeah, I feel like so in the book, one of the things so the question is money can't buy me happiness, and then so that's the unhelpful thought. And then the question is what makes me happy? And then she lists a bunch of things that make her happy. Drinking beer, getting massages, having her own business.
Ironic.
Yeah, that's very us coded. And then the next question leads into does having money help me achieve any of these happy things? And the answer is yes. And so her rewritten thought is money supports my happiness.
Yeah. So I think that in my case, it isn't the lack of money that is doing it. It
Mhm.
is in the pursuit of money that helps me do it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And we had this discussion before about how, it to me, the the motivation shouldn't be to make money. The motivation should be to do something that you love to the extent that you become a master at it and you become very, very good
And that you're
at the
helping
thing that you like.
others.
But that's the
Yeah.
idea, right? Now, helping others is a little bit ambiguous
Ambiguous.
because you can be on social media and you can be entertaining people.
Yeah.
And does that help people? I don't know if that necessarily helps people, but it can make you money.
Yeah.
You know
That's
what I
fair.
mean? My fitness Instagram, I don't know. Maybe my fitness Instagram can help people. Maybe it can, you know,
I think it motivated me.
it can motivate people. It can show people
Yeah.
other workouts. It can show people what my diet is like, and all those things. So it can help people.
Mhm.
But I don't think that it has to help people. I think that it's just in the pursuit of doing something that is of value.
To you.
No, value
No.
to others.
Value to
So
others.
so
Okay.
it's interesting to you. It's something that you enjoy doing
Yeah.
and you would pursue on your own, whether it gave other people value or not.
Mhm.
But it's only when other people see the value in it that it earns you money.
I see. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. So what is your rewritten thought then?
I mean, for me, it's just that I haven't done it, right?
Yeah.
Like, there are things that I can't do, but I only can't do them because I haven't tried to do it yet,
That's fair.
I think.
I think that's fair.
If I wanted to learn how to edit video,
Yeah.
like I can just go and find a course that is either free or cheap, and I can learn how to edit video, and I just haven't done it.
Yeah.
And I think that that actually is one of the things that's stopping me from starting my own YouTube channels is that, oh, like I need to pay an editor to edit my videos because I don't know how to.
I think people have this perception of perfectionism because there are so many people in the social media space, in the space of influencer that are perfect. I mean, I don't remember the name of the couple, but the husband and wife that do all those little skits. They
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
yeah
The really good relationship they have. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and
yeah.
they had the pregnancy loss recently.
Yes, they did.
Um, and their stuff is phenomenal.
It's
I
very
mean,
good.
it is phenomenal. But the reason you see them so much is because they probably practice and practice and
Well,
practice.
their perfection comes from
Yeah,
them doing it so often. And what you're going to find out is that when you go and do it, when you go and first start doing it, it's not going to be like that. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be that funny. It's not going to be that high quality.
yeah,
But you are going to find that you learn more from doing it and you get better at doing it from doing it.
yeah. Well, and also I think they have a circle of friends that are in the same industry, and so they bounce thoughts and ideas and
Well, I'm sure that they made friends
yeah,
along the way. They might not have had friends on the outset,
yeah,
when they first started. But I'm sure that they picked up other people who were trying to get in the same boat or were doing the same things. And so then they can say, hey, this worked for me. Hey, that camera works great. Hey, this microphone's really good.
yeah,
Hey, this algorithm is new. Did you check this out?
yeah,
And you won't have people like that when you first start.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that that's the problem with a lot of people that is a limiting factor from them starting is that
Hmm.
they just don't have those things, therefore they can't be good.
Yeah, and so that creates a limiting belief. And I think that goes right back to that whole self-sabotage thing.
It could be, you know what I mean? Like,
I do
oh,
it. I do it. I think that's one of my limiting beliefs.
I would believe that, yeah.
Yeah, I am a perfectionist almost to a fault. The things that I put out, I take a lot of pride in. I don't want ever any customer ever, customer client to feel like I'm not giving them the best of the best of the best.
It's to the point when we go and wrap the boxes up, the ritual boxes up, that they have to look a very specific way. If they even slide around in the box before we close them, it's a no-no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it has to look perfect. And perfectionism is fine. And when you're delivering a product, you want them to have perfection. You know, you
Mhm.
want it to be perfect, but you also can't let it stop you. You can't be frozen by perfection.
Yeah, I definitely think it has frozen me in terms of doing content, in terms of doing online stuff. Um, Part of it is one of my beliefs is that I'm not pretty enough.
Which
Which
is the biggest lie I've ever heard.
you have to say that you're my husband.
Doesn't matter if it's true.
Um, so I definitely think that that is an unhelpful thought. Um, I don't exactly know how to reframe that, but it's something that I'm working on. Um,
I think that, you know, a lot of these things can be two part, right? So like part of it is the mental hurdle to get over, but the other thing is that like there are things that we can do about how we look and how we feel. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like when I first started my fitness Instagram, I didn't think I looked good at all. By the time that well we got married, I thought I looked really, really good. And I think that
yeah,
if I can get back up to that, that'd be great.
yeah.
But, you know,
But I think a lot of people want authenticity when it comes to social media.
I think that they want authenticity too. I'm not saying that I wasn't authentic.
No, that's not what I'm saying either. I'm
But
saying that if you were to start again the fitness Instagram, if that was something you wanted to pursue, I think that people want the authenticity of like, hey, I'm restarting my game. Like I'm not always on top of it either.
yeah, I had life events going on,
Yeah.
and life events happen to people literally every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and just because I fell off the wagon doesn't mean that I can't get back on the horse.
Yeah.
And that's my plan. I wouldn't. What I would do if I restarted my fitness Instagram, which I would like to do, is I wouldn't wait until I get back to the point at when I stopped recording myself. I would record myself from the moment that I started back up again
Yeah.
to show people like, hey, setbacks are going to happen. I gained 40 pounds in 2 years after we got married.
That might be my fault.
Things happen and things change, and that doesn't mean that we can't go back to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that that is a really good way to reframe a limiting belief too, is that just because you have paused whatever you're doing, be that fitness, be that a business, be that even a friendship, that you can't go back to it. Friendship is willing that the other person wants to, but um, just because you've paused something doesn't mean that you can't return to it. And
Right.
and one of the things that she says in the book is even if you're not 100% on board with believing these new stories yet, do you feel how much more emotionally uplifting they are than the original sad sack versions? I noticed a shift in you, Ty, that like I asked this first unhelpful thought question and it made you very sad. Made you very sad. And then as we started to talk about it, your energy started to go up. Like you were like, oh, wait, I am more than what I think I am.
Yeah, and it was hard to admit it at first because the reality of it is that I could have always been this person, and all I'm doing is just wasting time being that person. Um, it's and the more time we don't have an unlimited amount of time, even though it feels like that when the days are long.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to we need to take advantage of the time that we have. There's a great quote that was an inspiration to me when I first started my fitness Instagram, my fitness journey, and all that. And it came from, I believe, a Greek philosopher, and I don't remember who it was. Maybe it was actually Marcus Aurelius. I don't really
Mm-hmm.
know,
Well, we have the
but
book behind you.
we do have the book behind me. But the line is, "It is a shame for a man to grow old and not know the beauty and strength of which he is capable.
Mm.
And I think that that is entirely true. I think that it's a shame that we don't ever reach our potential. You know what I mean? And to not find our potential in what we do. It's not even about our physical being. It's about in everything that we do. It is a shame for us not to find our limits. And it's a scary thing. But it is also a shame to not know our limits.
Yeah, I wish I remembered what I read the other day, but it was essentially about the beauty of trees and how they find their limits and how we can too, and it was very interesting. It was in the same vein as that, but I 100% agree. I think that most of us don't even know our limits. I think even the people in the upper echelon of who've pushed the limits, like uh Tony Robbins, we were talking about him a few minutes ago. I don't even think he may know his some of his limits. I think the things that humans are capable of is way beyond what we may ever know.
Yeah.
There are some people in this world who have, who are Olympic champions who have pushed limits that we as ordinary humans have never deemed possible.
Yeah.
I think that there are so many things that we're capable of, that if we were to take our unhelpful beliefs and our fears, and scrubbed them and really, really started to reframe our thoughts, we could accomplish. Yeah.
I think that's fair.
So, one of the things that she says um, in the end of the section is list 5 main things you remember your parents telling you about money. Yeah.
Save, save, save. Don't
Yeah.
touch it.
Yeah.
Don't spend it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. And it wasn't ever earn more, earn more, earn more. It was save, save, save. Because
Yeah.
you're only ever going to make so much.
Yeah.
So save money,
Yeah.
right? Well, that's a limiting thought.
Yeah. And um your dad is definitely a frugal person.
Yeah.
That's his nature. And so I know that is hard because you like nice things. So
Well, it's weird too because right because like I didn't even realize that I liked nice things
until you married me.
until I married you.
I'm so sorry.
Now I'm like, well, I don't want to save. I just want to make more money.
Yeah.
Can we just do that instead?
That's been just how I operate.
That's your motto.
That's my motto.
Well, it's
just make more.
But the thing about it is because your parents tell you the same thing.
Yeah.
Stop spending money. Save, save, save.
Yeah.
Don't go out on a limb. Don't take risks.
Yeah.
Risk bad.
So here's an interesting framing thing. My parents provided very well for me. I'm very, very lucky. However, my mom is a risk manager. That's what she did for her entire career.
Yeah.
And technically that is what my dad does as well in a different scope.
In a different scope, but yes.
So both of my parents are anti-risk, and they raised a daughter who gives a shit. I am so pro. Well, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to finances and adventures. I flew solo across the world when I was in my early 20s. Ew, I can't believe I can say that. Not that I flew solo, but that I'm in my that I
that you can reference your early
reference
20s.
my early 20s. But I flew solo across the world. That's something neither of my parents would have done, even given the opportunity. And so I definitely have reframed a lot of my thoughts around what my parents have told me, but I think I hold on to some of it still, especially now that we're closer to my parents.
Yeah.
And my parents are homesteaders and preppers, and we have a lot of meals prepared, and everything is organic and fresh from the farm, and if it's not, it's from a local farmer. And so my parents eat really healthy, but one of their thought processes is that we're saving money on our food in order to be able to save for something else.
Yeah.
And they do have really good financial skills, but what they never taught me was how to make my money work for me. And so that's something that I've been trying to accomplish since I opened the
So,
spa 5 years ago.
yeah, that we've been trying to find out together ever since.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go check on the cat.
Okay.
No, you can just keep going.
Okay. Our cat is being a menace. So I think that, especially as my parents have gotten older, I think they've gotten more risk averse. And so,
Yes.
um, I definitely think that that's something that I've had to learn to reframe. But I also have no financial skills.
Mhm.
I was a saver in my early 20s. That's what I did. But as soon as bills came, I didn't really know how to handle them. I never had the responsibility of managing my money.
Yeah, but it's also because your parents always took those risks, took those problems out of your hands and
Yeah.
said, "Don't worry, we'll do it for you."
Yeah.
And really, as like it may feel like a kind gesture at the time,
Yeah.
it's not. It's not helpful at all in the long run.
Yeah. And that's not to say that, Mom, if you're listening, we love you and it was a kind gesture. But it is difficult for me as an adult to figure out how to financially manage myself because it's not something I had ever experienced growing up or even in my early adulthood.
Right.
I knew what I made and I spent it.
Yep.
I had an apartment and whatever. And so you're save, and I'm
Risk averse.
risk averse,
Yeah.
which is weird because I'm also not, but I
Well,
am.
but no. Not that
Yeah.
you are, but
Yeah.
that's what your parents
That's what
always
my
told you.
yeah, yeah.
Risk averse.
Is there anything else that you think our parents have told us about money?
Your home is your greatest asset, even though your home is just another bill.
Yeah.
I think that actually Robert Miyazaki says that in Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's like
Yeah.
people think of their homes as an asset, and it's actually a liability.
Yeah.
All you do is that you pour money into a house for 30 years. And that cat is climbing the Christmas tree.
This is the first time he's done that. Of course, he has to do it while we're recording.
Yeah, love you, bud. Um, and uh, I don't know what else did don't use credit cards, pay credit card debt off
Well,
immediately.
so that's actually something I've heard more recently from my parents.
Yeah,
That's
credit
not,
cards.
yeah, that's not something that I think they ever really talked to me about when I was younger. My mom likes to make sure that if she's paying for something, especially something that's pricey,
Yeah.
that she pays it in cash. She
Mhm.
doesn't stay in debt at all. She has no debt. Um, and that's something that I think Tyler and I don't necessarily agree on a whole percent. I
Yeah.
do and I don't, right?
Right. So it depends on what you're using your credit for,
Yeah.
right? If you're using your credit to buy, other liabilities, which is what Robert Miyazaki talks about, that's a problem. If you're
Yeah.
using that capital and that ability to buy things that can make you more money,
Mm-hmm.
then you're using it the right way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And even in the case where if your credit card has a cashback reward, and this is what I feel, truly if your credit card has a cashback reward, right, and
Mm-hmm.
you even if it's 1%, you go and spend $200 on groceries and you pay it off before it can acquire any APR,
Mm-hmm.
you just made 2% back.
Right.
Like, and then there's no downside to it at all.
Yeah, one of the things that we're trying to do currently is something called travel hacking, which is the same thought process. It's earning money in order to use um, that reward system to go travel essentially for free.
Yeah, and so when you use your credit card and you're getting cash back, you're getting 2% back on it that you would not get with the debit card
Yeah.
that's being taken directly out of your account. Now, if it's points, if it's miles, if it's whatever it is, there are deals where you can transfer these reward points to an airline or to a resort or to something else where it can
Mm-hmm.
actually multiply and maximize your points to make it so much more valuable.
Yeah.
So it starts with gaining rewards on your credit card and on your line of credit. And then if you can figure it out, and there are forums that can help you out, there are groups that talk about it all the time. You just need to go and find it
Yeah.
to be able to utilize it the right way.
Yeah. So the next part of this is take any negative thoughts that came up for you in the first step above and break them down. So do you have any negative thoughts around what your parents have told you?
Is it about what my parents told me or about my limiting thought? It said the first
For the first step is in the 5 main things you remember your parents telling you about money. And mom and dad, if you're listening, we love you guys. This is not about you.
Not about you, it's about us growing on our journey.
Yeah.
Do I have any negative thoughts about it? I don't necessarily have any negative thoughts about it because I do know that it comes from a place of like love and genuine, like,
Yeah.
and a genuine attempt to make sure that we're taken care of.
And safe.
You know, and safe. I really do believe that.
Yeah.
You know, safe isn't always the best thing though. And I think
Yeah.
that actually through COVID, we learned a little bit too much about, you know, how safety isn't really the spice of life.
Yeah.
You know, and the reason why it isn't is because safety is actually a limiting factor. It really is.
Yeah.
You're going out on a limb by, you know, incurring this risk, but it can end up being the best thing for you.
Yeah.
Do not spend it on throwaway items. Do not spend it on food. Do not spend it on, you know, things that are just going to disappear. You know what I mean? Don't.
Yeah, have an ROI for the investments that you're making.
Yeah, be smart about how you're spending your money. I don't think that saving all of your money is going to make you a rich person.
Yeah.
I really don't think it does. You can put 500, well, I think it's actually 600 now, away a month to your Roth IRA.
Which I did, yeah.
Yeah, and then you can have, you know, a couple $1 million sitting in your bank account when you retire.
Yeah.
But, you know, then you retire and you don't have the energy or the motivation to go and really do any of those things.
Yeah, unless you keep up with your fitness and wellness.
Right. So what if instead you start investing that $500 a month into things that can start giving you a payback immediately?
Yeah, and long-term payback too.
Right. And then you have now a portfolio that's worth way more than 2 million by the time you retire, and you've had that the entire time. You've been
Yeah.
able to utilize it the entire time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This and what we're talking about isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
It isn't. Not everybody can do this or will do this or wants to do this.
Yeah.
But the idea is that if you want to maximize your money, if you want to maximize your time, this is how you do it.
Well, I think something that came up for me is that our parents' generation was just very risk averse. They were taught you climb the ladder, you know, you stay quiet, you do your job, you stay within that box, and you'll be fine.
And I think that the majority of people that did that lived good, happy, fruitful
Yes.
lives. I think that the world is different now.
Well, I think that there's something to be said about the rise of social media in that. I think it's teaching people that they have the ability and opportunity to branch out beyond their limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
Um,
You can see more things than you ever have before.
Yeah. There's also a flip side of it is that social media is very detrimental to our mental health because we are seeing all these people travel to France and go to Italy and have babies and do all the things that you're attempting to do and are failing at maybe or not able to accomplish. And it feels it's hard. It's hard. It can be very demotivating. It can be very motivating, but it can be very demotivating.
I would actually say that even being like on Instagram as a fitness
Yeah.
model or anything like that can actually be demotivating to other people. It's like, wow, they have the perfect body. I want that body. I'm not them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I truly think that there are even people that do the things that I do that could be detrimental to other people's health.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that there is a way that you can stop that from happening by saying like, hey guys, this is what I do and you can do it too.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not going to say that if you do everything that I do that you look like me, but you can better yourself.
Yeah.
And I really think that that's a better message of hope than just like, oh, look at me and I can do these things.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that that's kind of why we wanted to do the podcast, right? It was to teach others that like A, you're not alone, and B, like you are able to accomplish some of the goals that you want to accomplish. It's not really out of your reach as much as you think it is.
Now, you said a quote earlier, and I think it was people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 5.
In a decade.
In a
Yeah.
decade. So, and I think that that's totally true.
Yeah.
It's a slow grind. It's a process, and you
Yeah.
have to start. The best time to start is now.
Yeah.
or in 5 minutes when the podcast is over. Don't
Yeah.
start. Just go do it.
Yeah. So the next part is rewrite your new truths about money, which I feel like we've kind of done.
Mhm.
Take the new truth that has the most charge for you and write it down every morning and every night. Feel it in your bones, repeat it in your head as often as possible, say it out loud, keep hammering yourself with it until it sinks.
So I think that we do actually have to have like a new truth about money that we can use as a mantra from now on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I know. I know. I know. It's hard for me too. It's interesting that this book, and I kind of figured this was going to happen a little bit, but I feel like this book has actually taken us out of the money conversation and into our emotions.
Well, I think that it's because they're more tied than we would like to believe or that we have previously thought.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And for reasons that we've already talked about.
Yeah.
But essentially, what you have to do is that you have to do it. You have to believe that you can do it. And you have to start, even if it isn't perfect. You
Yeah.
have to just do it. Not to quote Nike or anything like that, but
Yeah,
but
let's not get sued from Nike.
yeah, right. But it's just to say like get her done.
Yeah.
Like just go do the thing.
Yee.
Yeah. Ding ding. Larry the Cable Dog. Wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, it's like literally just do it.
I think my new truth is money is not difficult.
Okay.
Money is freeing.
Mhm.
Which is interesting because I have always thought that I make money very easily, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's sort of when I'm in my groove, I make money very easily. Money just appears.
I don't think it just appears.
Well,
I think that the things that you do have such value,
yeah.
and um, and people are willing to pay for those things. The problem is that I think for you, and we talked about for a while actually how massage is actually a little bit limiting because
Mhm.
it's only a one-on-one
Yeah.
thing. You know what I mean? If you do fitness classes, it's a one-on 20. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But if you do online courses, it's a one-on infinity.
Yeah.
Like there are literally you can do it one time and every single person can experience that
Yeah,
thing.
which is part of the purpose of the wellness boxes. I created them because I can't massage 10 people at once. But what I can do is teach other people about wellness and how to make it easy for your everyday life. And
Yeah.
I can teach people um, the things that really matter in your wellness journey.
Mhm.
And reading a book like Atomic Habits, how to habit stack some of those wellness pieces.
Right.
That when you're sitting down to do your makeup, you gua sha first. When you go to bed at night, you meditate. So you're habit stacking, and that's sort of what my box is trying to help out other people with, um, to learn new habits and to create a lifestyle that feels healthy and whole. So for me, the box was my way of massaging 10 people at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe that.
I think for me the biggest piece of financial issue that I hold is I like nice things and I want to get a massage every month and I go get my nails done every month and um God bless.
Thank you. Sorry.
The cat looked at him funny. And so I think that for me that is the next step of my finances is I can manage my finances in a way that makes us able to accomplish even more in our lives
Yeah.
and feel joy from the money, not just grinding.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. I think that the main limiting belief I have around money is actually like that I don't have a certain amount of value. I don't bring value to the table. So then what I would say is that like what I do is valuable. I am valuable.
Mhm.
What I do is create value.
Yeah.
And you know, 5 years ago, if I told myself that I would be saying I am valuable to the mirror every morning, I'd probably make fun of myself. I would probably make fun of myself, but I do think that there is something to all of this. We actually talked about it in a biblical sense recently this past week about
Yeah.
how manifestation is actually a part of the Bible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So in the Bible, God says, "I am that I am, and I will make you the word that you speak." I will make you what you say.
And
So
so the biggest sacrilege against God isn't saying,
isn't saying, "Oh my God."
oh my God.
It's saying, "I am tired," saying, "I am poor."
Yeah.
But the reason is because he said that's taking his name in vain. I don't know if I agree with that, but I do think that there is something about saying, like, "I am poor," and God hears that and says, "Okay, you are poor,"
Yep.
because he will give you what you ask for.
I am that I
I
am.
am what I am. So, if you are feeling tired, so that you feel tired, maybe, but you should limit yourself to saying those things so often. I am valuable makes me a valuable person.
Yeah.
I know that my God can hear me, and I know that He will help me be valuable.
Yeah.
But also saying it to myself can help my mentality into believing that I am more valuable. And if I believe I am more valuable, and I think that this is really what the book is getting to, then I will be of more value.
What if one of the things that you add into your prayers every day, Ty, is asking God for the ability to see yourself in a better light?
That's a really good idea. I have the trouble asking God for things.
Yeah.
Usually when I
It's
pray,
it's because you don't believe you're of value.
it's because I don't believe I'm of value. You know, um, I what I usually pray for is like, forgive me, Lord, I am a sinner, and also there are other people going through things, and I pray that you help them out with those things.
Yeah.
But it's never I'm going through a struggle right now. I need help, Lord.
Isn't it possible that if you could figure out your value, that you might be more help to other people going through the struggle than you realize?
I think that I could be of more help because there are probably also people that don't think that they're of value.
Yeah.
And maybe if I can figure it out and walk through it with other people, we can all find more value in ourselves.
Especially in the community of men who don't have that support.
I think that there are a ton of men who probably have the same problems that I do.
Yeah.
Who don't feel like they're of value for one reason or the other. Let's not point towards the reason, let's point towards the solution.
Yeah.
And I think that that is infinitely more valuable. And you could even make an argument that if I do find the value in myself, and if I do, say I am valuable, does that make me a better Christian? Does that make me a better follower of Christ?
Mm-hmm.
And I think you can make the argument that, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. And I think even for those who um are more spiritual, that in spirituality it's important too. I mean, the words that you say are the manifestation of who you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
I am that I am.
I am that I am.
That's all we really need to hear and know.
Yeah.
And I think that the difference, because I know that a lot of Christians have problems with money and those who have a lot of money. And I think that that's a fair concern for those people. Maybe we can talk about this on a different day because this is a completely different topic.
Yeah.
But I think that the idea is the pursuit. If you pursue money, you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
I believe that you should pursue yourself. I think that you should pursue what's valuable to you. If one of those things is God, I definitely think that you're on the right track. But if you are pursuing yourself, you're giving yourself more value as well.
Yeah.
You are the temple.
Yeah.
Value the temple.
Well, it relates back, in my opinion, to what you were talking about earlier about how you should invest in things, right?
Mhm.
Why aren't you investing in yourself? I mean, that is
It's literally the hardest thing to invest in, and
it's
it's also the easiest thing
it's
to
also the
invest in.
easiest thing. I mean, that's what I did before I opened my business. That was actually one of the things that I did pretty religiously. Um, I had two business coaches. One was a spiritual one, and one was like figuring out my legacy and my, you know. So I think that one of the biggest things that you can do is invest in yourself, is create skill, create value in who you are.
Yeah.
And so if that means you have to spend $25 to buy a course online, research the course, of course, don't, purchase just something random,
Right.
but create a skill, take that course, read a book,
Yeah, and
buy an
your
audiobook.
and also your purchase, the cost of it doesn't always have to be money. It can be time.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It doesn't cost me anything to go and do push-ups right now.
Yep.
It does cost me time and effort.
Yep.
And those are all, those are all a purchase price. Those are all, if you ask me, it's all a sacrifice towards the future you.
Yeah.
And
And you're worth it.
it's no different to me than sacrificing your time to God.
Yeah.
When you pray, you are literally sacrificing part of your day to God.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing. If you go to the gym, you are literally sacrificing part of your day and part of your energy into a future you.
Mm-hmm. So were you
Do it.
valuable enough to do it?
Maybe even if I am not now, I know that if I invest in myself, I will be.
You are valuable enough. I love you.
I'm valuable enough to dedicate 30 minutes today to doing some calisthenics.
Perfect.
And I know that investment will only grow.
Yep. The last part is notice how you've been clinging to security in a way that's holding you back in any part of your life.
Safety.
This could be dating someone you know isn't the right person, never letting yourself spend your money on something fun, doing anything that bores you to tears because you want to be liked, you feel you should, you'll be judged if you don't, being scared to tell your blabbermouth neighbor that stopping by unannounced is unacceptable, etc. Find something that's not serving you, that you've been scared to let go of because of the security it provides, and take the first step in letting it go. This is large, Marge. So if you can't think of anything off the top of your head, stick with it until you do. It can make a gigantic shift in all the areas of your life.
Okay.
I think I want to let go of worrying about how other people perceive me.
I think that's a good one. I
Yeah.
think that's a good one for you.
Yeah.
I do think that others' perception of you is a big limiting factor in
Yeah.
your own growth.
Yeah.
And where that came from doesn't have to be discussed right now. But where I think mine would be, what should I let go of, you think? I think I should just let go of my phone. I think I should just bury it.
I think you should bury your phone too.
Bury my phone for like a
I
good
yelled at him the other day because
month.
he has been like on his phone
But
nonstop.
the problem is that I use my phone like a liability rather than a tool.
Yeah.
And if I can change my mindset around using my phone to using it as a tool
Yeah.
to organize myself and my life and be more productive, then I think that could change the trajectory of my life.
Yeah, you
I
need to
really do
produce
think
more
that.
than you consume.
I've always believed that I should be a producer rather than a consumer.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that consuming entertainment, consuming food is a bad thing, consuming, whatever. But you should also have an equivalent, if not greater, amount of production. And I have not been a producer of anything lately. So, I mean, even when I was posting on Instagram as a fitness, that's a production. Whether you wanna, doesn't matter how you want to downsize it.
Yeah.
You're producing something. You edited a clip, you edited a post, you did something, you put it out into the ether. That's production.
Yep.
So do something productive today.
Yep. And I am grateful to money because
I don't know why you're grateful for money.
I am grateful to money because it allows me to achieve all the dreams I've ever dreamt.
I think that's a good one.
Yeah. You want to go in together on that one?
Ditto, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we will record next week. Next week is chapter 2A, a tiny but mighty chapter about universal intelligence. I'm actually really excited about this. One of my favorite books is Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, who kind of talks about the same thing. So if you haven't read that, maybe that's another book that we will explore together in the future. But I think that's kind of part of what our podcasts are going to be over the next few months is we're going to dive into some of my favorite books.
Book studies.
Book studies. We're going to talk about You Are a Badass at Making Money. I'd like to go into my book Superfans. I would like to go into my book Big Magic. Not I haven't written them. And if there's any books that you guys want to sort of go through together, where we can kind of have.
Can I put one in? Can I make a suggestion
Yeah.
for the book pile?
Yeah.
Can we do Leadership Strategy and Tactics by Jocko Willink?
Yeah, you love that book.
I stinking love that book.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I think that if there's any books that we want to go through over the next 2 months together, I would love to hear your thoughts. So DM me on Instagram and we'll add them to the book pile. I'm really excited. Yeah. Thanks, guys, for hanging out and coming along. I know this
Hey.
was a long one.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Bye, guys.